A Florida man is arrested for drunk driving while wearing a shirt that says, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone." A Florida woman is arrested for poisoning a man's drink with cockroach killer. A Florida man proposed to his girlfriend with a hot dog at a wiener stand. And a Florida man was caught injecting a poisonous chemical agent under a neighbor's door. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They are all from the state of Florida because it's Friday. And on Friday, we only do weird news from Florida on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast recorded by a comedian inside a closet. I got some great Florida stories for you guys. Let's lead you in the weekend with Florida. A Florida man gets a DUI while wearing a t-shirt that says, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone." Tell me you're a Florida man without telling me you're a Florida man. This story is from Ocala. A man wearing an "I'm the reason the beer's always gone" t-shirt was charged with a driving under the influence after the deputies say he was driving almost 3 times over the legal limit. Oh, come on, bro. Can't you be any more Florida than that? 3 times over the limit? Come on, 5 times and more over the limit. That's a real Florida DUI as far as I'm concerned. We have here a Marion County Sheriff deputy conducting radar enforcement. Imagine Florida deputies conducting radar enforcement. I mean, they're just going to pull everybody over, I'd imagine. It's a very busy day doing radar enforcement on a Florida highway. And imagine what you'll find when you pull these screwballs over. Just imagine. The guns aren't the problem. It's the flocka and the alligators down their pants. This took place in the area of Marion Oaks Boulevard. You know the place, guys. You can get some good shit over there. While on the shift, an orange pickup truck came barreling past the patrol car. They don't care about patrol cars, these Florida drivers. They just barrel right through. The incident was caught on a dash cam. The vehicle was going 89 in a 45-mile-per-hour zone, nearly twice the limit. Am I doing the math right? 89 in a 45. Okay, 45 times 2 is 90. Sorry, guys. I got a public school education here, trying to figure out the maths. 89 and a 45. That's keeping it real in Florida. 89 and a 45. I was just keeping it real, officer. Now, when the Florida man full of beer barreled through the area, the deputy immediately activated the emergency lights and the siren to conduct a traffic stop. However, the driver of the truck, later identified as 41-year-old James Ricks Jr., fled away from the deputy and then turned off the lights on his truck, hoping to elude the deputy. Turned his lights off. He's like, "They won't see me if I turn my lights off." They won't see me. Yeah, they're just following the trail of beer cans, bro. They're going to find you eventually. Of course, this didn't work. The deputy caught up with the Florida man. The body camera video shows the deputies conducting the DUI traffic stop. The deputy claims he smelled alcohol coming from Ricks's breath and that he was unsteady on his feet during the stop. Florida man Ricks is seen in the video wearing an, quote, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone" t-shirt. And of course, that's not going to help your case. I mean, what lawyer can defend you at that point when your client is pulled over drunk driving wearing a t-shirt that says, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone"? Had he been wearing a shirt that said, "I'm the reason the oat milk's always gone," then you have a case. Then you can defend the man. My client drinks oat milk all the time, guys, not beer. What are you talking about? A Florida man proposed to his girlfriend with a hot dog at a wiener stand. Well, I mean, you got to propose, but you also can't really skip lunch now, can you? This is kind of a happy Florida story on some level, but it's very Florida. Proposing at a wiener stand. Oh, they look so happy, this little couple. She has her ring, and they each have wieners. Okay, let's get into this lovely story. This took place in Foley, Florida. Foley, Florida. A chili mac dog with a side of ketchup mustard and an engagement ring? Brooke James was in for a shock when her boyfriend, Brad Richardson, a Florida man, got down on one knee to propose to her with a hot dog at a place called, this is cool, the Whacked Out Wiener. I love it. That's a great name for a hot dog stand, the Whacked Out Wiener. Here's a quote from her. She said, "It took me a few seconds to really understand that this was serious. It wasn't a joke. You know, he's kind of crazy. He's done stuff like this before. He will jokingly get on one knee when I ask for a paper towel and be like, 'Will you take this from me, honey?' But when I saw the smile on his face and the sparkle in the middle of the hot dog, that's when I knew it was serious, man. It was a hot dog and an engagement ring, and I was so thrilled." She said a sparkle in the middle of the hot dog. Now, look, I'm no investigator. I'm not a professional, but I think we can deduce from that quote that the ring was actually inside the dog. That's crazy to put the ring in the dog. Imagine working there and you get asked this request. Yeah, certainly, sir. We can definitely put your engagement ring inside this footlong. Do you want mustard and relish on it, or just onions, or how would you like a... You can't really cover it with mustard and relish because you can't hide the damn thing, because then she might accidentally bite into the ring, and you don't want that. Although people in Florida losing their teeth all the time, it might not be such a big deal. I'm sorry. Now, the article goes on to say the couple met online 7 years ago when James was living in Florida and Richardson was living in Illinois shortly before leaving for Army basic training. They started dating in 2016. And they would often meet in Illinois or Alabama to spend a little time with each other. And eventually she moved to Florida, and they're about to have a lovely family. You know, to be young and in love with your cousin, isn't that something, guys? I'm just joking. They seem lovely. They look very happy. I wish them luck. I hope they can make enough money to someday get the hell out of Florida. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. A Florida woman spiked a man's drink with cockroach spray after they met at a bar. A Florida lady allegedly put some Raid roach spray in a man's drink after the pair met at a local bar. Her name is Veronica. She's charged with poisoning food or drink, according to the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. The deputies were called to a home around 4:30 a.m. where they met a man who had become very ill. He said he came home with Klein after she asked him to continue drinking with her. He said that he had 2 drinks, began feeling quite sick. Klein, the woman, allegedly admitted to spiking the 2 drinks with cockroach spray, which I don't know much about, but I'd imagine it's very powerful, right? Because it takes a lot to kill a cockroach. I heard that they can survive an atomic bomb or 2, so whatever was put into this guy's drink was stronger than an atomic bomb or 2. It's like putting Oppenheimer in your beverage, I'd imagine, right? So this is kind of weird. We have a quote here from the sheriff's office. The victim told the deputies he was vomiting for 30 minutes before he was able to call for help. He became sick again while providing his statement to the deputy. Now, the authorities haven't revealed if the woman had a motive for this alleged poisoning. Perhaps she was trying to just knock him out and rob him. You know, they tend to do that. Not tend to do that, but it is possible. You roofie a woman because you want to sleep with her, right? I've heard stories of men being roofied because they're the target of some sort of robbery, or a stolen organ is also possible. You hear people waking up without their kidneys, this kind of thing. I wonder if there's going to be a second date. Let me click on the other article, keep reading. There might be some information here about whether or not there's going to be a second date. I mean, it's really hard to find love in Florida, you know. Yeah, I guess she poisoned me, but, you know, we kind of clicked, you know. I thought we had a lot in common. She hates bugs. I hate bugs, you know. We could start a family together. I'm feeling ill, though, man. I'm so ill. Yay! A Florida man injected opioid chemicals under a neighbor's door. I mean, injected opioids under a door. All right, okay, let's learn a little bit about this. Tampa, Florida. The story begins here with a little history. After moving into their new condo in June 2022, Umar Abdullah and his pregnant wife were ready to welcome their daughter. They met their neighbors, and soon enough, a newborn was kicking around the place. Shortly thereafter, the downstairs neighbor, Zhuming Li, began texting him, complaining of some noises from upstairs. In the texts shared, Mr. Li said he couldn't sleep. He could hear the toilet seat being moved. He was complaining about all sorts of noises coming from upstairs. After months of back and forth between the two men, the grogginess and the sickness and the vomiting for Abdullah and his family began. Abdullah said that his friend first smelled the chemicals when she went to bring in a package while Abdullah was on vacation. When the family returned, they say they smelled a chemical as well. Some thought it might be nail polish remover. Mr. Abdullah said it was much more obnoxious than that. And often his baby's eyes were full of tears, although she was not crying. First, he said he called an air conditioning company, but they said nothing seemed to be wrong. A plumber came to the house, checked out the water heater, where the smell appeared to be coming from, but that was okay too. Although Abdullah said his landlord had even replaced it. The smell kept returning, even after the air ducts and the vents were cleaned as well. Abdullah, in desperation, even called the fire department at one point, but their tests didn't reveal anything at all. Abdullah explained, I was double checking everything. I started sniffing my condominium, sniffing around like a damn dog. After all of the potential suspects Abdullah could think of were checked off the list, he said he thought about his downstairs neighbor who kept complaining of the noises that Abdullah believed didn't even exist. When Abdullah took a skewer to his door, he said he found a crack in the corner that a syringe could fit through. He then installed a hidden camera outside. Then on another day, shortly after, when he noticed that his daughter was once again sick, once again tearing up, he checked that hidden camera. It appeared to show his downstairs neighbor crouching down in front of his front door. Abdullah recalled watching the video with his family. He said, "We were all shaking. We couldn't imagine what he was doing, but we knew he was doing something." So Abdullah adjusted the camera angle to get a better view of what was going on in front of the door. Then he waited. His daughter became sick once again. He checked the footage and saw his neighbor. This time the video appeared to show his neighbor taking a syringe out, filling the syringe with liquid, then injecting the liquid into the crack in the door frame. That was when Abdullah immediately got his family out of the house and called the police. His neighbor Lee was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including possession of a controlled substance and burglary. According to a Tampa Police Department affidavit, a hazmat test found the liquid chemical agent that was being injected into his house through the front door contained both methadone and hydrocodone opioid pain medications. In a statement by Lee's attorney, Lee has pled not guilty and all the facts will come in due course of time, they say. However, not helping his case, Lee is listed as a student at USF. He is a chemistry PhD student, or was. So this guy has a familiarity with chemicals, it seems, and he's created some sort of concoction to make the family stop being noisy, and we're not even sure if that's what was going on. He just could be hearing things. Well, how scary to live next to a Florida man. But if you're living in Florida, chances are you're living next to a Florida man. Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a nice weekend, or you had one, or you're about to have one. I tried to provide you with some Florida-centric entertainment for your weekend, and I want to thank everyone who sent me Florida stories the last couple of days, because you helped the cause, for sure. Made my job a little bit easier. And I'd like to give a shout out to someone who wrote me a review on Apple Podcasts. No name, just a bunch of laughing faces as their name, just some laughing faces. So a smiley face, laughy face, whatever your name is. Thank you for 5 stars. I so appreciate that. They wrote, the title is great. I love it. This show is very funny, and the Florida Fridays are hilarious. For real, bro. Try it. Yeah, very, very short and sweet, right to the point. Great review. I so appreciate the 5 stars as well, because as you know, I get a lot of 1-star reviews. We haven't figured out what the motivation for that is. I think it's psychopathy myself, but you know, who knows what it could be. So I think that this show's at least a 2-star, to be honest with you. You know, nothing special, but at least 2 stars. So anyways, thank you for the 5 stars. Anyone who's given me 5 stars, I'm so grateful. If you want to review the podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, also known as iTunes, on Amazon as well, and even Spotify. In fact, if you're listening on Spotify, it only takes a second. You can right now click on 5 stars, and I would so appreciate that. Thank you so much. What else? If you want to support the show, you can join the Patreon or buy Jonesy a coffee off my website. All of that can be done at weirdafnews.com. I suggest the Patreon in particular because I post a lot of extra weird content in there, and even some personal stuff. For instance, photos of my trip in Mexico. I even posted a photo of what I looked like in 2007 on a comedy flyer. I thought that was kind of fun. Anyways, you'll be very surprised when you see that. You can join the Patreon also by downloading Patreon, the app on your smartphone, and then doing a search for Weird AF News, or you can go to patreon.com/weirdafnews, or you can click on the link in the description of this podcast. If you would like to call the show, as you know, I oftentimes will publish some calls I get from the weirdos. The number is 646-450-2012. And on Instagram, you can follow me at Funny Jones. See where I'm performing. If you happen to be in the Southern California area, come to a show. And if you live elsewhere, I might be in your area. So follow me on Instagram at Funny Jones for all of that. I love you very much. Thanks for your support, and good luck with your life, man.